Well. We are here. And why are we here? Because we've got an emergency dilemma in our hand. And of course, if there was no controversy, Farouk would not be involved. And before I go off and start talking about this controversy, I do want to say, Farouk, first and foremost, a great season so far. I greatly respect your time and effort that you've put in and given the platform to a lot of these young players and some older players to come out here, be a part of a community, and play with emotions and play to win and be leaders and develop a lot of characteristics amongst each other. So I just want to say thank you for what you've done so far. I also have
My
with me
pleasure.
today a very, what seems to be polite, well mannered, and soft spoken individual who happens to just be in the middle of just as many controversies as you, Fargo.
Yes,
So he's keeping up with you, par for par. So AZ once
I guess
again
you're right.
is here with us, and I want to tell the viewers, what's going on a little bit. So, you know, I started looking at the chat, and I saw that a lot was going down. And about 5:32 p.m. today, James posted a message and said, we need to have a serious discussion about these refs. And that set off a string of people coming in and throwing in their 2 cents. James went on to say, shutting a game down is crazy, especially a close one. Then we had someone else say, bro, every year Wally is trash. I'm quoting. Every year Wally is trash. Every year we complain. Every year Kamish says they will make changes. Every year Wally back on the field screwing teams over. That's a loaded comment. Um, I believe this is AZ. That was a comment from ZQ. This is AZ saying, are you saying the league refuses to listen to the complaints of its paying members? Um, Belhas goes on to say, no one cursed at the ref, no one talking crazy to each other on both teams. We didn't even say anything to each other. Why threaten to call the game? Because he can't stand by what he calls and keep it consistent. Okay. He said his feelings he feels threatened. No one said anything to him. Two more comments I'm going to read and then we go on. This is I don't know who this is from. Might be AZ. We're playing for the number 2 seed to get a bye in the playoffs. Now there's 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game. The Caliphs are down 12-14, and the ref calls the game. And then someone went on and said, I think this was Pulak, Wally sponsored Farouk's green card. So there's a lot to address here.
That's Pulak.
All right.
I love
So
Pulak.
so so tell me, there's it seems like a lot happened, and we need to have a emergency podcast here. We need to stop from everything that we were doing to talk about this, and I want to make sure that we don't only get it from one side. We wanted to make sure we get it from both sides. So we got the Caliph's representative here and the ever non-controversial commissioner, whatever we want to call you, Farouk himself. So Farouk, let's talk about the call itself. Tell me what
Okay,
happened with the call.
I will. First of all, Usman, thank you very much for your highly rated, coveted podcast. So many people ask me, yo, when's the next podcast? It's amazing. And thank you for everyone. I have almost 500 views. I appreciate that. Much love. So, and also, I also want to point out every member can voice their opinion on any chat. They can DM me, they can DM Akib, Moody, any of these leaders. Usman, you know, open forum to give your opinion as long as it is respectful. So we don't hide behind anything. With that said, we were aware of all the Wally and Dennis complaints. We were aware of them. We did try to add new referees this season. So it's something we're trying to improve. But any walk of life, any division, there's going to be officiating that's questioned. So what happened today, right? Today was a very important game between the Callops and the Powerpuff Boys. The Powerpuff Boys clinched first place. The best record. Congratulations, guys. But the Callops were playing for the number 2 seed. And if they didn't win, they'll probably fall to number 3, which meant they don't get a bye week. They got to play 2 games on Super Saturday, November 9th, my older son's birthday, November 9th. Anyway, so this game was a close matchup, very intense, great defense. I happened to be watching it. And at 2.5 minutes left, second half, the Powerpuffs are up by 2 points, 14-20, and they're driving in the red zone. And Will intercepts the ball. And as he secures the ball, he steps out of bounds from Wally's viewpoint, which means it's a touchback, and the ball is now at the 5-yard line. Calip's ball with 2+ minutes left. So at that point, the Calip's all started disagreeing loudly. There was no cursing, but leading up to it, both teams were antagonizing the referees. Tala especially was already warned for unsportsmanlike conduct. So the referee said, guys, I gave you multiple warnings. Anyone else that speaks up now, I'm going to walk away. We're going to end the game. Now, Wally's a senior ref. Most people like him. I like him. So shortly thereafter, I believe Tala Shahnawaz said, those guys are the Kansas City Chiefs, meaning they're getting all the calls and they're playing favoritism. And Wally said, game's over, right there and then. And I was hoping that he was kidding, but he was very serious. So as he's walking away, I went towards him. I'm intercepting him. That's my team name, Interceptors. And I said, Wally, let's huddle up. I took Wally and the other referee. I asked him, I said, it's a very important game. This affects a lot of things. Can you reconsider? Let's talk about it. Is it in the rule book? Do you have that kind of power? There's no cursing. It is not a threat. It's an intense game. It's football. Throw the guy out. Throw out Allah. Throw out the captain. But let's not end the game. He thought about it. He said, I cannot change his mind. He said, if you force me to end the game, I'm leaving. Now, I have a decision to make. I cannot influence a referee, in my opinion. I can discuss the rules. I can discuss options. But I have to trust his objectivity. Otherwise, people can put me on the spot to discuss any rule and overrule it. Let's be honest. The only way I can overrule a referee if there's a bias or racist act, the referee is not of sound mind, or I feel like there's completely out of his mind. I don't think they were out of his mind. There were multiple warnings, and he made a choice. After conferring with both captains and the referees again, I decided to support the referee, and the game was over. I did tell AZ that he can protest the matchup. Akib, the commissioner, and Moody, the leader, and other people, Adil, can review the process, and we can consider it. We have a bye week next week for these kind of situations. Makeup game, all-star game, rain game. So we have that opportunity. So we left it at that. But obviously, a lot of people weren't happy, especially on the Calip side. So, it's an issue that we have to discuss. But that's my position of what I know. Does anyone, AZ?
I think you did a fairly good job. First of all, Usman, thanks for having this platform.
Hey,
for
listen,
us.
we've been meaning to connect on this for the whole season now, but you know what? There's no better moment than now to have you on, man. Welcome.
I understand why you're ducking me. Typical baller behavior. No, but in all seriousness, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys having this platform for us to kind of voice our concerns and overall help the league grow. So I think, Farouk, you did a fairly good job of summarizing the events that took place. A couple of things that stood out were, we just, we had a tremendous amount of respect for Powerpuff Boys, and there was no bickering back and forth between the two teams. It was a very, very good game, high level competition, back and forth, and we were just going at it, and the refs get in the way, and it's a really sad situation because it leaves a stain on a great game when you're not allowing the players involved to dictate the outcome. We have injuries all the time in sports. Um, and so when someone gets hurt, you bring in a replacement. So my question to you, Farouk, is, the refs involved, their feelings got hurt when we approached you to get some replacement referees to close out the 2.5 minutes that were left, which both teams were willing to do, whether we had to switch fields or switch refs to have an outcome to this amazing game. Why did you not allow that?
That's a good question. So let me rephrase this a little bit for you, Farouk. So basically, Wally comes in and says, you know what? For whatever reason, I gave a warning, this that. I'm not calling this game any longer. This is over. Teams want to continue playing the game. Now that's a whole nother topic that is really like a subjective issue now. That's that's a tough one. Go
And
ahead.
normally, I wouldn't care as much, but as you stated, Farouk, this is for seeding. There's a lot that goes. Usman knows he's a captain for several teams. There's a lot that goes behind having your guys just show up to games, and everybody puts their heart on the field to compete, and to wipe that all away because someone's feelings are hurt and they don't want to continue. It's terrible. There wasn't a brawl, there wasn't cussing, there wasn't any personal attacks. Like, we're here for competition, and players are going to get heated, players are going to bark. That's part of the game. As a referee, as a paid referee, you should have thicker skin.
So to clarify one more thing, so the Caliphs are playing for the number two seed, and the
Correct.
way we expect the playoffs to play out is on Super Saturday or the first round of the playoffs. The first seed and the second seed will get a bye for the first round, and then seeds 3, 4, 5, and 6, those four seeds will have two games, and the winner of those will then move on to the semis or the next round of the playoffs. So that's why it's a very, very important game for the Caliphs, and they are up two scores or
We're
down
down
two
two
scores.
points. We're down two
Oh,
points.
2 points, not even two scores. So it's
There's
12-14.
there's 2 points to this, right? The ref blew the whistle at the end of an interception that could potentially be returned. He called it an interception, but then he said the player involved took a foot back outside of the back of the end zone. So whatever, we disagreed with that, but I can understand that, right? Referees have judgment calls and that they make, and to be fair, in their defense, the field conditions were horrible. The wind was blowing all kinds of cones around, so I get that. I can live with that. But to end the game because one of our players made a little bit of an error out of frustration, and he said, something just very mild, to end the game, that was staggering. It was like, what are we doing here?
Talk to me, Farouk.
So the question was, why didn't I, as the leader, de facto commissioner on the field, why didn't I let them go and bring in other referees from different fields, finish the game? And although, yes, I give the Powerpuffs credit, they said, let's play the game. They're gamers. That's why they're number one seed. I felt that was such a major move, right? It would question the
Did we
league's
lose Farouk?
I think
integrity.
so. I think so.
The league's
All right.
integrity
Well,
would be
he'll be
questioned.
back. He has the link to join. But yeah, listen.
Can you hear me?
So what do you see happening here? What do you think is how do we move on?
I don't
Well,
know. I mean, obviously we're all competitors. We would have loved to settled it on the field. Whether we go down and score and win the game, who knows how that happens, right? Maybe there's more time left. They get a chance to bring the ball back. I do think that if we had somebody on from Powerpuff Boys, it would be fair to give them, the mic to
so
kind of present their case. I don't think there was any contention on their side, from what I know at least. You know, anything could have happened. But there's 2.5 minutes. That's an eternity. Anything can happen. We can go
But
down.
what can the league do now at this point, right? So the call's been
What can
made,
they do?
So
I
the
mean,
game's been ended.
if I can speak, I
The only thing we can do, in
I
my
would
opinion, at
strongly
this point
consider
is learn from it.
the
Maybe
protest
ask the
by
league to
Calip's
put a
to
rule
see if
in
we can
place
continue the game.
because you would
But I
assume the
can't. I'm not the
logical
only
play
person to
would
rule on
be
this.
that
We gotta
the
based on we
referee
gotta wait on the feedback
tosses the
from
player
others
that
to decide.
may have caused the infraction, right? So now
So
you lose one
I'm not
player,
sure you
whether they
guys can
face
hear
a
me.
suspension, that's on whatever. So maybe I think what
I
we need
think
to do to move forward
I
is
think
the league needs to
that's the
clarify
logical next step. They
the rule
protest
itself.
and we
So
decide on the next
100%.
steps.
We
going
questioned it
into
at
the
the time.
playoffs,
We were wondering at the
Damn it,
time,
what's
is
wrong
there
with
even
this?
a rule where a referee can just end the game? Like, it's not a all-out brawl or a melee or
Can you guys
something
hear me?
of that sort to that magnitude where you would say, hey, this game needs, someone's safety is in jeopardy, which was also concerning because the referee involved did say, hey, I feel unsafe. I feel like I'm being threatened, and that was not the case at all. That was the furthest thing from the truth. Nobody was getting violent or physical or abusive, even with their language towards him.
listen, Farouk made a good point in the
outside.
chat. Farouk made one good point in the chat that I'm going to point. He made a couple of points, but one of the things that I've noticed was the player who's involved does not seem to take any accountability for this.
No, I mean, I think he does. He did say, we all said, throw him out of the game. If you want to be punitive and he did something that, is warranted, he already had one unsportsmanlike penalty in the game. Throw another unsportsmanlike penalty and he's ejected. So we were all in agreement with that. Or even if he didn't have a penalty and you felt like, you gave enough warnings and he said this comment that he said was over the top for you, throw him out. But why are you being punitive to the two teams involved? Right? It's not just us. I'm sure the guys on Powerpuff Boys are all competitors. We're all kind of left with this feeling of like, we don't know the outcome of the game. They don't want to win that way. They want to win with everything out on the field, with at zero.
Maybe not.
So can you guys
maybe
hear
the
me?
Ballers could use a win, and you guys will take it. It's been a while.
Maybe not. You know what I'm saying? I see a little low blow there, but I'm just saying let's not speak for them, right? Because
No, I don't intend to speak for them at all. I'm just saying I'm sure they would.
I wouldn't have expected the Calibs to be like, you know what? Yeah, we'll meet you next week and play for us. Or is that something the Calibs would do?
Yeah, absolutely. We're down for that. It's not ideal circumstances. We don't like it, but it's you're gonna
I'm just
ask.
throwing that out there. But the likeliness of a rematch is probably only going to happen in the playoffs.
Not a rematch, right? You would finish out the game, whatever time that they declared was left, 2.5 or so minutes, and the players that were there.
Honestly, don't see that happening. Personally,
I don't know
what speaking on behalf of the league. I'm just personally saying that I don't see that happening because so much goes on in the game to get
what do
to
you
that
think,
point.
As a impartial bystander, what do you think are fair options for it doesn't really affect Powerpuff Boys. They've already clinched the number one seed.
It's like that issue we just recently watched with that Vikings game, right? Like there's two referees standing there. The guy pulls a face mask of the quarterback hits the ground, there's no call made, and the game is, I don't know whether the game ended on that play, but that was a controversial, game-changing play where they had gotten a call. The outcome may have been different. So nothing can be done. You can't go back and replay the game. You can't go back and make a call. So in my opinion, I think you guys had a heck of a season. You guys played very well. And, I think you just got to take it and move on, and you'll have another shot at them. Listen, you get through the other teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, but that's basically
ideal. Not ideal. I agree with you.
Not ideal, right? Obviously, if it came to that, we're competitors. We're going to compete. We're going to show up for whoever we have to see in the playoffs and try to get a dub. But that's not ideal. that's not fair. There's 2.5 minutes left in the game. What are we doing?
Bartender.
You know, what are we doing?
So
Like,
so so
with
Farouk is
you're
suggesting that
telling
the Caliph
me,
can protest. I don't know
yeah,
what
yeah,
that means.
I was told immediately by Farouk that we have the ability to protest, and we filed a protest with the league office immediately. I mean, never
Where's
have
the
I
league
seen
office?
any flag football experience that the referee shuts down the game because you know the players involved are chirping with him a little bit. Like, come on, bro, have some thicker
Yeah.
skin.
All right.
You know,
Well, you know what? I'm glad that we got a couple minutes to chat it up. And we'll put this in the chat. We'll let the other members kind of get up to speed with it. Hopefully, there's something that the league puts in place going forward. I don't know how they're going to handle the official protest, but I'm sure that they will take some sort of action to at least improve the experience going forward. Hopefully, this doesn't even. I don't know where the standings end up. I don't know if you guys will end up in the 2 seed or the 3 seed. Do you know that?
it all depends on the outcome of this game. That's why all of this matters so much. I don't know what the depend. I
What
think
if
we're
they
locked
give you
into
a tie?
either. I don't know
They
what's
give
going to
you.
end up.
All right. Well, you know what? I won't speculate too much on it. Sorry, you were saying?
But yeah,
All right.
I don't know what happened
So
to
can you
Farouk,
guys
but it
hear
would have
me?
been nice to hear from him in terms of like why certain things weren't taken, into action at that moment during I feel like he's too scared to hurt the referees' feelings when the referees are being paid to work for CFL. And if you're convinced in your heart that the decision that they're making is inappropriate, you know, take
I do
the
agree with that
leadership
point.
accountability,
I do think
take
that.
So can you guys hear me?
leadership accountability and make a judgment call. Stop being afraid of people that aren't doing the correct thing. He cares too much about feelings
I think as
and
the administrator, he
Can you guys
definitely
hear me?
had the ability to allow the refs to walk away and finish the game out with a new set of referees.
Can you guys
Probably
hear
would
me?
have been a much
100%.
way to go. But we can't go back in
Can you
time.
guys hear
We
me?
can't change things. Unfortunately, Farouk is having trouble getting on. But
I was
maybe we'll have to pick this up again. Um, you know, that's the CFL.
I appreciate you, brother. It's the Yankee
Well,
game.
he's apparently here, but Farouk, if you're with us, we don't hear you.
I mean, we don't need to see
So,
him. It's fine.
all right. So
Can you hear
we're
me?
gonna have to leave it at that, and then hopefully see how things play out during the rest of this week. About your new quarterback that you had this week, there are teams that struggle to even get one quarterback. You seem to have a new one every week. So
It's
tell me
not this
more.
week. He's been our quarterback for the last 4 weeks. I don't know where you've been, Usman. I don't know where you've
Last
been hiding
four
out on
weeks.
Saturday mornings, but he's been our quarterback for the last 4 weeks. And that
I'm
that
gonna have
shows
to
that
go back and check. I'm gonna have to go
you're
back
not
and check the
watching
tapes,
film.
man.
You're not watching film on the Caliphs, Usman. What's going on? Yeah, Shane's a really good quarterback, and we're hoping that he can help us get to where we want to be at the end of the season, whether we're the 2 seed or the 3 seed. And yeah,
So
he's been
what's the
great.
trick? What's the trick of putting together this superstar roster,
You
man?
were
Like
telling
teams
me,
struggling to get one quarterback. You've had like 3, 4 this season, and all
well,
good ones.
people have gotten hurt. They've had family obligations, and sometimes they weren't cutting it on the field. So there's no
I
trick. It's
saw
just,
John Blaze on the sidelines today. Does that mean he's going to be playing for the Caliphs for the first playoff game?
are you allowing him to be eligible?
I don't make those decisions, man. That's above my pay grade.
No, Blaze is a friend, and he came out he wanted to see the guy, so he came out to show some love and show some support. It's always good seeing a, a flag football lifer, CFL lifer. Blaze is,
He's definitely a
everybody wants
legend. All right,
to.
so Farouk has relayed a message. He's going to reconvene with his administrative staff, his executives. He's going to have a conversation, and then he's going to come back with something that I guess we can consider a decision. on how to move forward.
Hopefully, it's before we know who the next president is going to be.
All right, so tell me, you're looking forward to the playoffs or what? I know the field conditions were less than ideal, which is probably why the referee probably made a bad call. I don't know. If, you know what? Let me
I'm
not.
sure it had a factor in that. You know, looking back, I think Fat Man Films sent a clip to some of my guys. So, you know, it's a 50-50 call. So, you know, it's a judgment call. From my vantage point, he caught the ball and went forward. So if you're calling this a clean interception and he's going forward towards the our end of the field, then I don't know how you he'd say that he took a step out, but it's hard to say. So I'm not as mad as that at that, and that Will would have taken that to the house. I know Phil on Powerpuff Boy probably disagrees with me and says he would have caught him, but I think Will would have taken that to the house and that would have given us a lead. But um, you know, let us play the game. Whatever you feel about that call, let us play the game and let us finish it out. I'm
Hey,
excited about the
so
playoffs.
yeah,
How
so
do you feel about all of these new acquisitions that you have on the ballers? And I see that the chemistry is developing, and you got some superstars with Ant Lewis and James, and of course Omer.
we got
So
the same guys, man. We got no new toys. We got the same guys. We're we can't even buy a win out here, man. The only way we get a win is if another team forfeits, man. Oh, we're just gonna go right under the radar, and we're just here to watch you guys. Listen, a lot of good plays from your quarterback today. I saw he got the ball downfield. Um, Will, a heck of a player. You got a lot of talent on your team, but this might have been like the Caliphs. I mean, not the Caliphs. The Powerpuff Boys just play a very good team game. And like there's everyone else, including the Caliphs, Ballers, and anyone else that you want to name in the league, is just they're just in different tier at the moment. A lot of teams come close to beating them, and then they just somehow pull away. Like we
yeah,
we, we had a
don't
game with
sleep
them
on the
today.
U. Don't sleep on the U. Those guys
I'm
are
not sleeping on anyone. I think
those
all
guys are tough. And
it's
if Dre
any
is
given
playing the way
Saturday situation once we go into the playoffs, right? So
if
I'm
Dre
not
is
sleeping
playing
on
the way
anyone.
he's been playing, every week I look up is like 5 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns. Like the the U is scary. Obviously, you're right. The Powerpuff Boys are the target. Everybody wants a chance at them, and you got to go through them to touch the chip. Um, you know, I think the rest of us are in the middle of the pack. I think that the U and the Powerpuff Boys are the cream of the crop right now. So
So unless there's a massive upset coming out, round two, where the lower seed ends up playing Powerpuff Boys and they get knocked out, that'll be a major, major, major upset, and that'll be something to look. That game should be something to, obviously every playoff game is important, but that's a big one that we got to circle.
is that what you're predicting?
I'm not predicting that, but I'm all for the underdog. I'm all for the underdog. That's why I was for Pluto. Despite their um, behavior towards me on the field, I'm still for them. They were the big underdog story, and I would have
What did
liked them
Pluto
to.
what did Pluto do to you? I don't know about this.
We can't talk about that. We can't talk about that here. Not today. Not
Did
without
your
Shaq. Maybe we need to
Usman,
bring
did
him
your
on and
feelings
talk.
get
You know what? Like I, it may seem like I'm emotional, but I'm not like a soft. I'm not gonna go
no
cry
no one
about it. Like
no one said
it's
you
on the field,
no.
and that's it. Like at the end of the day, like I'm not. This is a recreational sport. I go out to enjoy the game. I enjoy playing the game. I enjoy watching the game. I actually enjoy this a little bit more than the NFL, especially the way the NFL is being played these days. But that's on the field. But off the field, listen, we all have been seeing each other for so many years, and probably hopefully years to come. And I definitely don't have any ill will towards anyone in this league or in this community, I should say, because I'm
Likewise,
all for the
likewise.
brotherhood.
Likewise, I appreciate that. Yeah, I do appreciate that about CFL, and I know we get heated on the field, but it's always respect and love to everybody in the community. And obviously, we all love to compete, so things get passionate at times. So, but I respect that. But hey, listen, this was a great chat. I'm gonna leave you with one tidbit. I don't know if Omer ever told you, but in the off season, I did try to recruit him. Um,
This conversation ends here, man. I don't want to hear more about this. All right, we got
I
enough
did try to
quarterbacks.
recruit him, but I'll tell you this: he shut me down right away. Not because he didn't want to play with me, because he was scared of you and your
Oh.
reaction. He didn't want to hurt your feelings. So you got
All
a
right,
good brother there.
all
But
right.
this was fun. We should do it again. Uh,
For sure,
and
man. And maybe we'll catch up soon again, and
yeah,
let's see how things play out. And if anything, at least what we know is that we'll be looking forward to the playoffs, and hopefully we'll have a good set of games. Thank you for coming.
sounds good. Have a good night.
All right,
Salam.
man.